Well, ladies and gentlemen. What an interesting scenario. Don't worry. I see your comments. I am reading them. And I'm getting that flavor from you all. Yeah, Tino, where's 8K now, bro? Bullish market in, wrecked this, wrecked that. Bro, man, I'm a scalper. I'm in, I'm out. I don't give the market maker the satisfaction of being able to whip and whack my liquidity. Welcome to tonight's episode. Take the money and run. In tonight's live stream, ladies and gentlemen, what's good, man? What's good? In tonight's live stream, we're going to be talking about a few things. A couple of warnings from the big fat banks. We've got earnings coming out tomorrow, which is going to be the basis of what we're talking about tonight and how it will impact the market tomorrow. The US markets have been closed today. It's been kind of quiet across the board. Bitcoin's been whipping price up and down, and we're going to break down as many assets as possible so that you guys are aligned with what to expect going in tomorrow. The sooner you start taking the business of trading seriously, then you'll start to respect that when days like this, when the US markets are closed, you don't trade because you're down a pool of liquidity. A move that happens to the upside brings it straight back down into the range. We're lacking liquidity. London closed at 5 p.m. GMT, so we've had pretty much 4 hours of market activity with no volume. Volatility, straight up, straight back down, shaking the retail trader out. Got the World Economic Forum talking away. All the fat cats from all the big boy companies are putting their 2 cents in on what they need to be getting done. Debt ceiling looking to be raised. I mean, look, if they don't raise the debt ceiling, it's all going to come crashing down. That's the problem with the US economy itself. Print. I owe you money in dollars. Well, you're using my currency. I don't owe you nothing. That's the sad truth. Now, something has been happening over the weekend and has come to fruition. We've got the story of Silvergate, the biggest cryptocurrency bank, or should I say they got their hands inside of many exchanges. They provide the liquidity for them. Gemini, Genesis, and good old FTX. Well, FTX was 80%. Like, there was their largest customer. All right? The SEC is investigating major players in the crypto space. But Bitcoin's moving up. And in tonight's live, I'm going to be breaking down the idea of what you've got to be aware of. If my thumbnails and my titles have brought you here, happy days. I'm going to give you the flavor of the hybrid system to get you to understand how the market operates. We're not here to predict where the market's going to go to the T. I am still with 8K Bitcoin. That will challenge a lot of people. But I'm going by what the market's suggesting. Bitcoin moves up to the 21,000 zone. Happy days. 8K is off the table. Yet half of YouTube will be talking about 100K Bitcoin when it's at 20,000. Doesn't make sense. But that's another story. I believe in cryptocurrency. I believe in Bitcoin. But I believe mainly in blockchain. Because there's a utility. Someone's going to invest somewhere. A big company's going to endorse the idea of a specific type of blockchain that provides a service. Happy days. Cryptocurrency restores faith. But we need to get rid of all these investigations, this FTX. That needs to kind of dwindle down a little bit. And the economy needs to start doing its own thing. We got problems in China and Japan, ladies and gentlemen. The yen is growing. It's going up. That's bad news for the yen. Why? Because exports is costing them more money. It doesn't favor Japan to have a high yen. It needs to come down. Naturally, when the yen comes down, the dollar's going to go up. Now, the dollar is sitting at a very important zone, sort of bouncing at the lows. It's at a very important key support zone. We're going to make our way into the charts. Mad love and respect, ladies and gentlemen. If you are new to the channel, subscribe. Costs you nothing. If you like what I'm doing. You might not like what I'm saying, but I can at least hope I put a smile on your face. Let's roll with the charts, man. Let's bring this fire. Here we go. So, let's just break down BTC. And what we're going to be doing very shortly is I'm going to be asking for your coins. Not yet. But we need to have a look at a couple of altcoins because the topic of tonight is to take the money and run until the next opportunity arises. Traders pay themselves, yeah? To stay in the game of trading, we take money from the marketplace. Cool. Don't leave it in there. What's the point? Check this out. Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin has done something beautiful. Happy days to anyone that took the move to the upside. Now, this is Bitcoin on the 8-hour time frame. Structurally, we can see we've got a nice little pattern right here. Bitcoin shifts out of the zone. The hybrid system says that we would expect a retrace. It's the retrace that will tell us the proof of this move. Because if it can retrace back down, yippee-ki-yay to the upside to come in and make an attempt towards that 800 EMA. If the retrace can sustain inside of this zone. If it comes down and just completely flushes out, the retrace can go as deep as it wants, all the way down, even towards the lows of 15, as long as Bitcoin can bounce from that point. So we're now waiting to see if Bitcoin can retrace because everyone is saying it. This move is too sustained. And you've noticed that Bitcoin keeps moving up to keep the retail trader committed in his belief that he's missing out on the big move. 95% of people, when they see price moving up like that, they're only looking for the key terms of bullish behavior. They'll see an article and it will say, the market is looking bullish. Happy days. I don't need to worry about my long position in Bitcoin. I'm going to go to bed and that's it. Wakes up in the morning. My guy's been liquidated. Safe. Happy days. Mr. Market Maker has fulfilled his trap. We look at this behavior in Bitcoin and you can see bright as day. Shift out. Cool. They move too fast. I don't like it when they move too fast. Well, I do because I can exploit it. But the move is too fast. Look left and where have they come to? The same point that they sold from. Cool. When did they last do this? Well, if you look over here, guys, very closely in this chart, you can see that we kind of formed the same structure here. Bitcoin moved out, came into the recovery of the vector candle right here. Happy days, 50% of that zone taken, and then they shifted down. The same behavior is happening here. So why is this any different? Why are the banks telling us that the market's not appreciating the fact that interest rates are going to stay higher for longer? Tomorrow, as always, when the US markets come back from a bank holiday, the New York session always makes us pay. Now, if you are new to the channel, you might not know what I'm talking about here, but all the guys that have been with me from day one, mad love to you, you remember that when New York comes back from a holiday, they always come back with a vengeance and they end up snapping price to the downside. Is this going to be the case? Would that be consistent with the retrace that we're looking for? Okay. The main earnings announcements that are coming out tomorrow will be from Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley. Okay. We got Procter & Gamble. And we've got a few more financial institutions, that are declaring earnings. Wells Fargo gets the party started and declares a 50% loss on their profits. When banks don't make money, that is a problem because 99% of the reason why money moves around the US and why they keep printing it is because fractional reserve banking, the money that they keep giving out to people, they charge interest on it. Well, you ain't getting that money. Now, listen. Wells Fargo was hit with a $3.5 billion, fine, which has impacted their profits. But for them to declare a 50% loss on their profit margins, my days, bro. Like, let's be honest now. Usually what happens in the banking sector or in any sector, when the bigger players start to declare a loss, it usually has a ripple effect. Now, Goldman Sachs has said something interesting. It said that commodities are likely to repeat the same behavior that they did back in 2007, 2008, just before the subprime mortgage crisis and the financial collapse. It was a big global crisis. Even the World Bank is saying it's not looking good. Don't get it twisted. I am not here to spread FUD. That's just your way of making it easier for you to take a stab at me looking like I'm bearish. I'm just relaying what the market participants are trying to give off. When markets move up like this during bearish cycles, who do you think is buying? Retail. Who do you think is selling to them? Market makers, smart money concepts. That's how it is. Because none of you walk into a shop and say, can I please buy at the highest price? None of you do. Okay? You go and buy a car. What's your best price, my brother? How much is this? You know how much it is, bro. You want to know how much less you can pay. So why is the market any different? Tell me. It doesn't make sense why you would do that. But this is how the market and the business works. So we've got Bitcoin trading at the 21,155. In one of my community posts, I asked the majority of you guys, what are you? Are you scalpers? Do you trade the 1 minute time frame, the 5 minute time frame? I also asked if you're on the 15-minute to the hour swing traders. For all you guys in the live with me tonight, just chuck a couple of comments. And if anyone watches the replay of this video, put in the comments section, where are most of your strengths? Where do they lie? Do they lie in swing trading or scalping? Let me know. So, Bitcoin at 21,164. Let's go to our dearly beloved high block to understand where the liquidity is at. Now, I'm seeing this bad boy being thrown about everywhere. And what's really great is people are talking about it like it's a surprise. Nah, man. Nah, listen. 12-hour time frame is suggesting that we have got some liquidity all the way down at 20,575. The problem that I have is this. The slower they move up, the easier it is for us to understand that there could be a continuation of price going up because they don't want to throw off the market. But the faster they move up, the faster they're likely to come down because the liquidity is being advertised right here. At the 20,575 zone, we got $851 million worth of long liquidations. Take your money. The only reason that exists right there is because people are still holding onto positions because they think that every trade that they're in or anything that they've got in the charts right now is going to turn them over and make them a ton of money that they can sit and retire on. Please, there is a buy button and then there's a sell button. Lock in your profits, leave a bit in the charts if you think it's going to continue higher, but practice risk management. Why are you going to leave your whole bag in a trade? Because you'll then go to the chart and say to yourself, when Bitcoin was above the 21,000 at 21,500, you're going to say, well, right now, Bitcoin's at 21,184. If the retrace comes in and Bitcoin ends at 19,500, you're going to be sat there scratching your head thinking, well, I lost a couple of grand from the high where I could have closed it. And why couldn't have I opened another position at this point? At least at that point, I would have had more money to go in. And when you have more money to go into a trade, that means you're in the trade for less time because you're earning more money as it's moving up. Am I speaking too fast? Or is it because I keep saying the same thing? That's what I'm trying to convey over to you all. All right, Bitcoin 8K, cool. It got your attention. Because this is the sort of stuff we talk about. Going by the principle of the high block, if we look at the chart on the 7-day window, how much liquidity is coming into the chart? It's what's going to give us an understanding of what the market maker's trying to do. At the top side, we've narrowly missed $4.5 billion worth of short liquidations at the 21,700. Listen, it's you against the market maker. It doesn't matter what. Why should people be like, shame on the shorts, shame on the longs, shame on the shorts? Like, come on, bro. It's us against them. We want to take their money. We don't want to be taking each other's. But because people are still in the belief that, oh, you know what? It's, screw the shorts or screw the longs. Nah, man. At the end of the day, house always wins. We know that. We want to take from the market maker. And you guys in positions, not necessarily you guys, but retail traders are advertising to the market maker that their liquidity is there. Now, let's just look at this chart right here, which kind of puts it into perspective. Where's the money? Where's the money above 30K? 26. Let's pan this out. Anything up there? I'm not seeing anything. Chart can't even go up there. But all the way down here, we have a sad story of $17,208 million worth of long liquidations at the 15,200 zone. Now, some of you might be like, Tino, the bull market is in, the bull market is in. If the bull market is in, why is Bitcoin moved up so aggressively? Let them take their time. Let them take their time. If the bull market's in, happy days. We ain't got to worry about anything. The economy is slowing down. There's no demand for anything. Anyone that trades natural gas, check this out. Let's just go over to it. Natural gas. Where are we at? Let's just pick this one. What's going on there? Europe was in an energy crisis because of the tensions that have been going off in the Ukraine and Russia. Now, natural gas is at $3, $3.40. Why? Because the weather got warm. Happy days. There's too much supply, no demand. Let's go to oil. Oil trading sideways, 78 zone. Now remember, Goldman Sachs is talking about the idea that commodities might actually continue with the move to the upside. And when that sort of happens, it's a shift in the way the markets work because there's too much supply, not enough demand. So what does that mean? Oil has to go up. And when oil goes up, that means things start to get a bit more expensive. Okay? And if you've got a strong labor market that keeps on being so confident with the way things are going, and you see oil going all the way up to about $100 a barrel, what do you think is going to happen then? The strong employment market is going to absorb that. And they're going to keep on paying. What do you think is going to happen then? Inflation. So although it looks like inflation has peaked, the big boy banks today at WEF said it. Look, man, the markets are not appreciating that it's going to be high interest rates for a long time. Now, the markets may be pricing in the idea of 25 basis point increase in the next Fed meeting. Nonetheless, it's still an increase. They've reacted to the idea that they want to slow it down, but they ain't stopping. That's a cause for concern. Now, going into tomorrow's price action, ladies and gentlemen, with Bitcoin. Now, of course, Asia itself will be opening this evening. We've got the Sydney market that is open right now. Now, listen, if you are new to the channel and you haven't done so already, click the subscribe button for the flavor so I can bring you guys the fire every single evening. Tomorrow, the markets will be opening, all right? We've still got the World Economic Forum meetings as well. And we've got Empire State Manufacturing Index coming out, which is projecting for a negative reading, but not as bad as what it was previously, okay? Usually, if this reading is negative, it's implying that the manufacturing sector is kind of slowing down. And of course, the purchasing managers don't really see things changing, okay? Now, what I'm going to talk about is why tomorrow is going to bring a lot of volatility. So, Morgan Stanley are going to be declaring their earnings. Now, we look at the chart right here, and we can see Morgan Stanley, the stock itself, has come back all the way in towards the 91 zone. Last time it was there, it sold off from that point. Now, remember, risk is on, but in order for you to buy, someone has to sell. So who's in control? Not the bulls. Because we're only lifting price to the point where we're happy to sell from. And until we exhaust the point of that interest, then we'll start bringing it back down so we can start loading up our bags to sell back into you guys because you guys think that everything's going up. Now, I might be wrong. And if I am wrong, happy days. At least I'm giving you enough information for you to make an informed decision about what's going on in the macro environment. Don't expect, just because I'm saying to you, yeah, the banks think that the markets are not really absorbing or accepting the idea that interest rates are going to be high for long. Does that mean it's going to take a nosedive tomorrow? Maybe. We are extended to the upside, especially with Bitcoin. We're going to the chart with Bitcoin, and you can see it's made several attempts towards the 21,500 zone, but it hasn't fully taken that region just yet. We've got some wicks to the downsides on the 1 hour time frame. And when we look at it on the 12-hour chart as well, it would be crazy because people will naturally assume that it's going to keep going higher. And as I said to you before, there's no loyalty in trading. 1 minute you're going down, the next minute you're going up, and you change your narrative. The idea is to make sure when you do change your mind that you've got enough capital behind you and you haven't experienced so much of a bad loss in any trades that you may be wrong in, so you can take advantage of the moves to the upside. But how many of you would be on the agreement that this is now a great time to buy Bitcoin? Tell me, do you think it's a good time to start getting into Bitcoin at this price from a holder's perspective? Because a holder has the patience to sit through things. That means he can sit through recessions. They haven't declared a recession, but everything is screaming for it. The yields are still inverted. That means money isn't being locked up for long. And tomorrow is going to dictate the idea of what can happen in the short to medium term in the marketplace. Top side, maximum zone. If Bitcoin can sustain this move to the upside, we want the retrace to happen. Because I can imagine that some of you are thinking, yeah, it's probably going to drop. Well, the market will do things to make you think it's going to continue higher. So you can park away that idea of it not dropping and get into the trade, and then it catches you by surprise. Welcome to trading, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't say it was easy. I said it was the hardest, easiest way to make money. Don't get it twisted. Now look, the 800 EMA is sitting at the 26K zone, all right? Bitcoin has come up towards the 21,400 zone, hasn't managed to get above the 21,500. We want volume to come in when it breaks that 21,500 zone, because then when it retraces back down, we'll then know the proof of the move because it just broke out of that zone. Let's go over to EXO Charts. This is the EXO Charts. I don't know if a lot of you are using this, all right? But this is based, each candlestick is based on the tick volume. So how many times does price change hands? And I've programmed it to show me 2,600 ticks. So price goes up and down, up and down, up and down, 2,600 times as a sample size of a candlestick on this chart. So it's going to tell me how much strength there is in the chart or the candlestick so I can understand if price is going to go up or down. Now, what I want you to pay attention to is this. Down here, you can see that we have got delta readings. Now, delta readings have been showing that it's been getting positive as it moves up. Now, remember, only a couple of videos ago, live streams ago, we talked about this and that every time the delta comes in at the high point, and you can see it's got low volume, that's when Mr. Market Maker's trapping retail traders. He gets them committed, stop hunt rise, rip to the downside. He makes them pay the price. Now, Bitcoin doesn't need to go all the way down to 20,000 or 18,000 for you to validate the reason why shorts traders or longs traders are getting liquidated, okay? You can see what the transactions are inside of this candle. You got 500,000 there in shorts and in sales, and you've got 4.4 million in buys right there. But it's actually the opposite. In order to buy, someone has to sell. So you've got $4.4 million worth of people selling into the players that are buying. And then you've got $500,000 worth of people selling, which is really people buying. Okay? Now, based on that information right there, if you look down below, you can see we've had one big fat daddy delta coming in at 53%, minus 53. What does the delta mean? It just means the net of buys and sales. So who's in control? All right. Is it the sellers or the buyers? Well, the buyers were in control at this point, but price came down aggressively and made those buyers pay the price. Happy days. Now, let's just go over to this point right here. What do we see? As price is coming up, you can see the delta increasing 21%, 21, 16, 19, 7, then plus 26% on 38 million on volume. 38 million. At the highest point, what does Bitcoin do afterwards? Prints us another candle on the delta that says 47%. It actually said 60% at the highest point because that's what the market does. How many of you have brought something and you want to sell it for a profit? And where do you sell it from a profit? You sell it for a profit at the lowest possible price? Nah, you don't, do you? You sell it at the highest point in the chart. Well, sorry, you know what I'm saying, man. You sell profit. No, you don't sell profit. You sell something for a profit, and you try and do it at the highest profit point. Shh. Man. Sorry, guys. Anyways, minus 60% right there. Now what have we got? We got the same thing. 47%, and then it rolls over. So by that token, could the same thing be happening here? We saw 53% sell-off right there. And when the last time they did that, it was at 47% on 14 million. We go over here, we look at this, and we see it's at 15 million, 53%. So it's a little bit more. Seems like they're in a bit of a cycle here. What's the story with the 21,500 zone that they seem to not break? This is the concerning thing. We could get another spike to the upside, ladies and gentlemen. And this is where I will say to you, any faster movements by Bitcoin, make sure you pay yourselves and then sit back and wait for the retrace, however deep it's going to be. All right? Just take the money, because the sooner you, and the more often you take the money, the more you can trade. The more you can sit and watch these live streams and then watch your position and be like, yeah, okay, I think Bitcoin's going to keep going higher, or I'm going to add to my trade. Okay, I'm going to go and do some analysis and hope that if I'm right, then cool. But you can't do that when you're not trading. And you don't even want to be trading if you've taken a loss. You don't even want to look at the charts. You don't even go on YouTube. You don't even look at anything. All right? So, I'm going to say it. But before I do, let's have a look at some Forex. Forex is going to put things into perspective for us. Okay? remember what we said about the Japanese yen. We go over down to the yen. Where is my yen? I'll look at gold in a second. Don't worry. I'll look at gold. Here we go. Let's get that and have a look at yen. There she goes. No, it's the wrong one. There she is. This is a problem for the Japanese. They rely on exports. They need their yen to be low. Okay? They're considering a fiscal policy switch up so that they can keep the yen devalued as low as they can. When the yen goes down, the dollar moves up. When the dollar moves up, Bitcoin goes down. Going over to the dollar dominance right here, you can see bright as day that we've got ourselves some very interesting behavior at the 800 EMA. It's broken it down, come back in and tested this zone right here, which was the last key area of support where dollar itself started its run up all the way up towards the 114 mark. All right? Now, keeping a close eye on the dominance of the dollar is going to save you a lot of hassle, because it's going to give you the narrative of where traders are. But you've seen how dollar's been trading, all right? The markets are prone to macros. Bitcoin moving up is macro related. Now, I know a lot of guys are coming in saying, you know, Bitcoin will always be the savior, and this is because banks are stepping in and what have you. Listen, banks don't buy when prices, banks don't sell when prices are dropping. All right, they know that. They have to actually start buying when it drops. They sell when it rises. But believe it or not, institutional traders also get it wrong. So you've got smart money and you've got dumb money. And banks fall into the category of dumb money. Unless you're the players of the market and you run the marketplace, any move to the upside will be met with a move to the downside. How much of a move to the downside? That's all going to be based on Bitcoin's ability on the 1 hour time frame to hold and test the 50 EMA. Okay? So when you're trying to gauge, look, Bitcoin is hugging that 50 EMA, loves that 50 EMA, but you've seen through today with the light volume that it's prone to snap. So going into tonight, we're going to get a clearer outlook on what Asia's looking at doing. All right? Now, with regards to Forex, Euro takes up 56% of the dominance of the dollar. All right, we've already got issues in the Europe zone, and we've also got more strikes happening in the UK. Going over to the pound itself, we had the Bank of England governor saying that, you know, we're away from the idea of what Truss had done for us in relations to the pension schemes. So we narrowly missed out assets going to the pan. God, it wouldn't be the first time that the UK had a problem with the pension scheme. God, Gordon Brown, back in the day, what a guy, sold up all of the UK's gold, which leads me over to the idea of gold. Gold is coming close towards that 1915 zone. Looking left at the chart, we can see that gold is doing amazing at coming back up into this zone. Funnily enough, Bitcoin hasn't moved as the same way as gold. If Bitcoin had followed gold's movement, Bitcoin would be at around 35, 40K maybe, because gold has not stopped moving to the upside. But Bitcoin has been consolidating for too long, which is why I'm reluctant to believe that Bitcoin could continue in a move going into the 30s and the 40s, hypothetically, because it's just happened so fast. It's not been a progressive move. When they move commodities progressively, that's when they're trying to accumulate, until they do the last move where everyone runs to gold and they have got their perfect liquidity for traders to get trapped. And then they instantly reverse it on them. Okay? Dollar yen. Same with the dollar index, coming back into the same spot that they moved from and bounced with a passion. The change in the fiscal policy for the Japanese yen could lead the dollar to move back up. So just be mindful in Asia tonight, guys. But like I said to you, tomorrow is the earnings announcements for these big company banks right here. Where is it? These are the companies: Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs. Just quickly look at that. Goldman Sachs is looking good. We're at 374. We've got CFG right here. We've got Interactive Brokers. And we've got SBNY, another bank, financial institution. Usually these are the guys with the biggest market cap in the NASDAQ and the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange, S&P as such. All right? So we're going to have some volatility tomorrow. So just be careful, which then leads me on to the next thing. Give me your coins. I'm going to start the party by looking at the best performing altcoins in my altcoin boss list. AMP. What's AMP done? Okay. Now we've got a nice little flavor right here on AMP. Nice 1 hour time frame. Fully recovering near enough that green vector candle coming up towards what we would understand to be potentially the recovery of the wick. Looking at Flux, we've got this nice basing zone right here. I don't blame you guys for thinking that this could be the bottom. I don't blame you, okay? But from a scalper's perspective, I just look for movement. And if the macro is suggesting that things are looking doom and gloom, I'm then going to be reluctant to hold trades for long. If you're exploiting movements, take the money because the macros are there to just get us to understand how it's going to look later on in the future. Tell me how many bullish markets, okay, happened during a recession when money wasn't moving. Yeah? You might have seen a little bullish rally, but nothing sustained. Give me your coins, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go with ADA. ADA USDT, Cardano. Here we go. Right, so what have we got on ADA? Right, on the daily, let's go to the 1 hour time frame first, understand where we are. All right, so ADA's formulated some structure here. Let's get rid of that. So we've got a nice little M formation right here. We had an M formation right here, but it didn't play out, and they continued to the move to the upside. Now, listen, if you are new to the channel and you haven't downloaded the indicators, get yourself over to Traders Reality website, follow the steps. It's pinned to the top of the chat. And you can download the indicators free of charge. You want to learn more about the hybrid system and projections, go to the Patreon and join the community over there. Now, look, ADA, as it stands, if we base everything off the idea of a cycle, all right, we have got ourselves a W formation right here. Now, this is the weekly cycle that I'm talking about. This usually happens in assets across the board, all right? It's a cyclical play. Whoops. Okay, and it tells us that at the start of the week, price moves up, retraces. If it's going to continue, it's going to try one more, go down, and then it finalizes with a nice climatic move to the upside to create an M formation and then start the process and come back down and get some profits. That's a cyclical play. So then we look at ADA and we assume on the 1 hour time frame that we have had that cyclical play. Okay, so we've got one move right here, retrace, okay? And then we've got another move up, retrace, and then we've got another move up, retrace, which is leading into the M formation. So this is how you base a structural move in the charts. Now, when you look at it, you can assume that, look, ADA's been moving up non-stop, and we have seen 2 attempts towards this high, but no follow-through. But the only way that you can establish if the move is going to fail and they're going to continue even higher, just look at the 50 EMA and make sure that price expands away from the 50, because right now, nothing is happening. You want the expansion from the moving averages. Look how it expands away from the 50 EMA. Happy days. Well, where's price right now? Nowhere else. It can't test anything else in principle other than the 200 EMA to test the intention of the traders that came in inside of this zone, which was the reason why price ended up moving higher. Look at what they do at the highest point. What happened in ADA to cause that? Nothing. It was just a quick stab at the retail trader who opened his longs at 100x and the market maker made them pay. Remember, you can't buy if no one sells. Market maker held price at this point and instantly reversed it back down to get the liquidity. He brings it back up again, can't take out that previous zone. Now he's pulling back with a stopping volume candle right there with less volume. I'd rather seen that candle and the volume bar down at the lows right here finish higher than what the selling candle was right here. So there's sort of kind of clues from the chart to tell us if they are going to move. Okay? Solana. Where's Sol? USDT. Tina, what are you doing? Here we go. Sol right there. See, Sol kind of does something nice. It likes to consolidate, but 1, 2, 3 hits to the high, consistent hits to the high. All right? Like I said, tomorrow the markets will be in full swing. Okay? Just be mindful when price spikes to the upside in Asia, because that's what Asia does. It likes to set things up. Okay? Now, because we're going into the open of the New York market tomorrow and news announcements and, of course, earnings is coming out, it's going to be volatile. That's why I say to you, take your money and run, let the market react. Because if you're in fear that the markets aren't going to keep paying you because you've closed out your trade and you think you're going to miss out on a move, you're in a state of lack. That means that trade that you took was a fluke. Use the same ability in your mind that you had when you took the trade in the first place and try and take advantage of another move. That's what trading's about. It's about having the confidence to say, you know what? I'm going to take my money and I'm then going to go back into the chart and find the next asset that could potentially do the same thing. Happy days, rinse and repeat. It's not easy, but once you get into the swing of things, you'll start to understand it. Here we go. What other coins have we got? YFI. YFI. Seeing similar structures across the board. Seeing the same structure across the board. The only way this would be invalidated if it can break above the 7663 zone. That's where it would need to go. We look left and look on the chart and you can see it's fully recovering near enough. Not so much, but I mean, the last time it came over to this point, when it came back and recovered the vector candles over here, it sold off from that zone and rejected the 200 EMA. Now we're back up at this point right here and pulling back from the same zone that we pulled away from and tapped into that liquidity over here. At most, if the move's going to sustain itself and hold the 5 and 13 EMA on the 8-hour time frame, you would assume that they would want to try and come back up into this zone right here. So that could be the range that they could decide to reverse from. Okay, GALA. I know GALA's been getting some heat in the charts. Here we go. GALA. So GALA seems like it's forming a structure here. All right. With altcoins, just be mindful when they are far away from the 50. GALA is far away from the 50 and altcoins are prone to movements. All right. They don't care. They'll move it up as fast as they can and then they'll move it back down again. We've got divergences from our divergence traders where the big green vector candle comes in to trap the trader in the belief of the long, but the volume isn't present. Again, these are the signals that the market gives us to make us believe that retail's committed while smart money is selling into them. And when you start seeing it get all choppy like this, there could be a change in the narrative. If they're going to keep moving higher, it's not going to be choppy. It's going to be nice and clean moves like this, controlled, shift out. When you start seeing this behavior right here, you start to think to yourself, hold on, what if they actually start to break down? And you'll naturally see that because look at these wicks. When you start seeing these wicks at these highs, market makers grabbing liquidity from the downside to the upside because people are putting orders, trading all sorts of structures and hoping it's going to break higher in their favor or go down in their favor. So that's why I'm saying to you, just be mindful, take your money and run. Green vector candle down here, which Asia could surprise us with the move, but if they sustain this move to the upside, you might want to be containing yourself and prepare for a recovery of this red vector candle up here. But the 50 has to show proof. And what's the 50 EMA doing right now? Flat. It's nothing. So that means what? No trading. Because if price does break the 50 EMA and moves up, you got to wait for it to come back down again. Look at what Bitcoin did today. Did exactly the same thing. Look. Where are we going? Where are we going with this? Where are we going? Here we go. Let's go to BTC. All right, then. So look at this. 15-minute time frame. Bitcoin. Right here. This is what I'm saying about breaking out. Yeah? Price comes up. Retraces back in. Look at that there. That's what you're looking for. You are looking for the rise, the retrace, continuation. All right? That's what you're looking for. This is the structure. Open your charts. Try and find this structure as many times as you can. Okay? Then mark off the safety entry and then mark off the advanced entry. Go back in the chart and try and find that. Try and find that structure and then study why the structure didn't work out. Okay? So here's an example. You would say to yourself, look, rise, retrace, continuation. Well, it didn't continue that much more, which is why the advanced entry kind of gives you a little bit of a profit. But then if you were to take the safety entry, you would be waiting for it to break out. Now, breakout traders would have taken that trade. They would have been solidified, but with the understanding of the hybrid system, you would be anticipating them to come back into this wick. And then when they come back into this same wick, that's the same spot that they sold from. And then price reverses back down. This is how they trap the markets. This is how they trap you to buy at the highest point. Okay? Even in this instance right here, some traders will probably be using bullish flags, bearish flags. Okay? This is how they trap those traders. Look at that. Trap the trader. Bang. Breaks out. Bullish flag confirmed. Comes back down. I'll add some more. Comes back up. I'll add some more. Bang. Comes back into the same spot that all those orders got triggered on, and they all got their stops hit. And then they're sat there thinking, right, it's going to go down again. And then what happens? The market opens, spike lower, and then they shift back out. But they tap the 200 EMA and continued. Again, you are looking for this structure in the charts in your trading, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? So, without chewing your ears anymore, if you are new to the channel, make sure you like, subscribe, so I can bring you that flavor and that fire. But it's been a pleasure speaking to you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Check in with us tomorrow night when we see what happens in the New York session. Take your money, pay yourselves, and get ready for the next setup. Mad love and respect, ladies and gentlemen. Take care of yourselves. Peace.